pace at Old Trafford to try and hurt them early on in the game, but they're in the driving seat for sure.
There you have it, just one shot on target from Manchester United, 8 for Sevilla, and 25 attempts from Sevilla, but they never really threatened, aside from obviously the brilliance of De Gea.
No, De Gea, obviously, I think we'll credit Manchester United's organisation. They sort of sat back quite deep, but they stayed organised. I think I mentioned for McTominay in midfield, I think he was played with a very experienced head on his shoulders for his first big Champions League night. And I thought Matic was pretty good there in front of the back four as well, very solid.
Only one place to start, isn't there, really? I mean, he didn't have that many saves to make, but one in particular just before half-time, David De Gea, extraordinary.
Yep, outright the best goalkeeper in the world. Time and time again,
we'll come to that in a minute about the best
he produces saves like this, but the great goalkeepers don't have to make saves every 10 minutes. He could be called upon once in a game and he's got to be there. It's that concentration at the top level, and he has that in abundance. Here, I mean, the reflex is here. He waits for him to make. He doesn't gamble. Waits, reacts.
Speed.
It's just the speed of that is phenomenal, breathtaking.
Strong hand as well. I mean, I think a lot of goalkeepers, they might get anywhere near with a reaction, but I don't think to get that firm hand, it can be one of those fingertips.
Cement, like cement. Right? They say chocolate wrist, don't they? But he's certainly not got those.
Yeah, fantastic.
Paul, your turn. Eulogise as you will.
He's the best. I think he did have a difficult period when he first signed, but from that original difficult time, he's been the best for what, 3 or 4 years now. He's saved Man United so many times. He's saved them so many points. And today he's probably ensured that they'll go through.
Well, we were talking before. When he first come, even as players, we were sitting there with doubts, really.
Yeah.
A young kid just coming to the doors at Manchester United. We need to win every year. How are we going to do that with a young kid in experience who looks like he's lacking confidence? To be fair, Steely, who brought him in, believed in him, and the gaffer followed that through. And where he is today, that's a sign of someone who's worked hard and got to where he needs to get.
Yeah, BT Sport did a Twitter poll this evening, probably after that save, that asked really fans of supporters of Manchester United, etc., who is Manchester United's best player? 93% have gone for David De Gea, 7% between Pogba, Sanchez and Lukaku. Says something.
It says something. I don't know if it's good or bad.
I don't think it's probably. Yeah,
I mean, I always felt as an outfield player.
It's good for De Gea.
No, it is. I always thought as an outfield player, if our goalkeeper won Player of the Year, then we've had a bit of a dodgy year. A team like Manchester United.
He wins it most.
I'd say I think he's won it last 2 years, hasn't he?
I think Herrera won it in 1 year, but aside from that, I think he won it 3 times out of 4 or something. Something else. We're talking about the best goalkeeper in the world, and that debate. Other people will have different opinions, of course. But just a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, FIFA's Best Awards. This is quite interesting. Buffon, 42%. Neuer, 32%. Navas, Real Madrid, 10%. Courtois, 9%. Lloris, 3%. There were votes also for Oblak, Ter Stegen and Alisson, who played for Roma this evening. David De Gea, 0 points.
They're obviously not watching the Premier League, don't they?
Who votes?
Who votes? Who is it that votes?
I don't know. That's the question. Yeah. Who votes?
Buffon did the voting.
Yeah, exactly. Get them on here.
I think it's probably coaches and players and not maybe goalkeepers. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe do we take into account? I mean, Neuer's obviously terrific as well, and he's been injured most of quite a long time now. But taking into account, is he as good a footballer as perhaps some of them on the floor? That's quite important nowadays for goalkeepers.
I think all round, he's the full package.
Yeah.
I think you can pick faults in all of them.
Necessarily come out.
Yeah, but in today's game, they don't really cross the ball as much anymore. But I think in terms of the all-round package, I think if you looked at all the others' games, I don't think they're as strong all-round as he is. I think Buffon's been a great goalkeeper, aging. Unfortunately,
I agree with that. Yeah.
Neuer, I think there's been big moments in big games where he's conceded a lot of goals. We were speaking about that before, and I don't think he's as complete as David De Gea is today.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I think what David is most important when you think about a goalkeeper, he's saving shots and keeping the ball out there, and he does that brilliantly. And he is good with his feet. Okay, he's maybe not as good as some, but he's still got great feet.
Yeah. Frank, where do you stand on this? I mean, there's other goalkeepers that we're seeing. Edison come through at Manchester United, made a massive difference to them. Brilliant on the floor.
Yeah, and suiting Manchester City's game. So I think that adds a lot to them as a team. But I think as the whole package, I can't see anyone actually near De Gea at the minute. I think he's quite clearly at the front of it for his last 2 or 3 years' performances.
OK, let's bring it back to the game itself that we've seen tonight. Sevilla had 1 or 2 opportunities aside from the save that De Gea made.
Yeah, and I think that Manchester United, I think we said job done beforehand. There were glimmers for this Seville team, but they didn't have that cutting edge today. And this was really their opportunity to really put this game to Manchester United, and they didn't really put it to an end. They didn't get the final end product that they were looking for. And Manchester United, as I said before, I think they'll go home fairly satisfied with the performance today. This is a fantastic chance. Not any real conviction there.
Yeah, I think they seemed to lack a bit of conviction. I think they got in some good areas like that, but just weren't ruthless enough. And obviously, they had the great chance what David makes. I think this is another great chance. He should head it back. I think he should head it back towards number 11 there, Correa, who's coming in. But I just don't think they really had that belief that they could go on and beat United.
I'm not sure if it was Manchester United's game plan, but they were very content to let them shoot from just outside the box, but then not feel that they were under pressure with it. And they kept shooting, but you never felt massively under pressure.
It kind of panned out as the game we expected. Low scoring, draw, good result for Manchester United. What was expected?
I think Jose Mourinho's team said a lot from his point of view. And then you look at the Sevilla team and you say, well, they're doing well in the Liga, but who do we really know there that's on this sort of Champions League level that's going to really win games and turn games? And there are not too many names there, so it ended up pretty even.
Yep. I'd like to talk about where Manchester United are. Where do you feel they are? We're looking at other teams. I mean, it's a decent result tonight and they're in a good position to go through. But they're kind of a little bit pedestrian compared with perhaps, Manchester City, other sides that are good, Liverpool going forward, possibly even Chelsea at times. Yeah,
compared to other teams in our league or in this same competition, they're not as pleasing on the eye. That's fair to say. But they grind out results. This is, I think, in Europe, me personally, I'd have been getting on the plane very, very satisfied with this result, confident that we'll beat them at home. And to win trophies, sometimes it can't be pretty. You can't all be free-flowing, great footballing teams. There are times this season when Manchester United have played well, especially at home, but they're not as consistent in their performance as other teams.
Do you like to see a little bit more flair perhaps introduced? It looked quite a bit more exciting when Martial and Rashford were on at the end there.
Yeah, it did as well. I think when you set up to play counter-attacking football, you need pace. I think Juan Mata in the team tonight, he's a great footballer, we know that, but in a team that has possession. Tonight there was just no real pace on either wing. Sanchez didn't have his best game. And again, Lukaku has to be better when the ball's, when you're playing counter-attacking football, the ball's got to stick with him. He was so weak. You've got to be strong, you've got to get hold of the ball, get your touch right and bring players in every time. And not every time, but most of the time he's giving the ball away. You
played under Mourinho, very pragmatic, obviously, wins lots of trophies. Do you think perhaps the game's evolved a little bit and left him behind?
Well, it's definitely changed. The game has changed. I don't think Jose's tactics. I think that's where he differs from Liverpool and Manchester City in particular. They defend, and Tottenham actually defend very front-footed. They start and they press very high. Manchester United teams generally don't. They kind of sit back and have shape and look to counter-attack. I think it's kind of one of the reasons why they're not maybe quite so pleasing on the eye, because you don't get that quick pressing game, winning the ball back high, and that excitement from them. But for a game like tonight, without it being great to watch, it's very effective for an away tie in Europe.
Yeah, sometimes you can read too much into things when you're away for home. They'll play differently, I'm sure, in the second leg. Lukaku, Paul said he was poor tonight, didn't hold the ball up very well.
Yeah.
Missed a decent chance or
Stats don't always tell the true story or something, but 38 touches he had tonight and 18 times he give it away. And if you're trying to produce a counter-attacking performance, that first ball up to your front man, the ball has to stick to allow your team to get out. Your runners, the likes of Sanchez, Pogba when he came on. But with Lukaku in a team at the moment, the ball doesn't stick, so the counter-attack will not happen. It doesn't happen.
OK. I've asked you loads of questions. You've never hugged me.
not as good as him. Not as good as him questions.
It's a good point. Well made. We were talking about Lukaku. We've got a little bit of footage to back up what you're about to say.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. I mean, because he has all the tools. He's big, he's strong. Great movement there. Wrong decision, wrong choice of shot there with the wrong part of his foot. But he has everything to scare a defender. I've played against him. He's quick, he's strong, he's aggressive at times.
He's scored 20 goals this season, really.
And he's scored a lot of goals. But the big games, big nights, big moments is where you want to see him produce.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to do.
That's where it falls down, his statistics, don't they, in the big ones.
He has to prove himself in the big games, there's no doubt about that. 21 goals? It's a great return at this stage of the season, but we need to see him in them big games now.
I mean, you know him well, obviously.
Yeah,
Can he step up? Do you think he can be that
Well, he
that
has
man
to.
at Manchester
He wants
United?
to. I was very impressed with his work ethic at Chelsea because he was quite raw at that point and had to work on his game, and he certainly has done that. But I do think there's more to come, and that link up with teammates is a huge thing. If you're going to play Sanchez around him and Martial, massive people that are going to join you, it must stick. Otherwise, the whole game can break down on that.
Yep. Paul Pogba. He came on when Herrera got injured, didn't he? He seemed to do his hamstring fairly early in proceedings. He'd been left out. I mean, it's understandable why the press are all asking about Paul Pogba, because it's a big story. It costs £90 million. He's left him out in a big game in Europe.
Yeah, there was no surprise he left him out for me, because his last two or three performances haven't been good enough, and he probably couldn't trust him in this game. But he came on and I thought he did all right. It wasn't sensational.
It's like most of the players, they kind of just did all right.
Yeah, I think he was right to talk about McTominay. I thought he was excellent for the job he was given, because Banega's no doubt their best player, and you didn't really see him in the game at all. So he really nullified him. I thought he was good. And I thought Matic as well. I thought all three of them played well. You'd just like to see that a bit more quality in forward areas. I think that was the only thing that this performance lacked, really.
This is a touch match.
I agree. I think he did okay. I think at this level of football, you have to, as a midfield player, I did it many a time, you have to accept you go away. And you don't, maybe you have a funny feeling after this game. Did I influence it much? You know, did I get in the box as much as I wanted to? Sometimes you don't. I think he did that sort of steady job that helped the team.
We've all played in games where it's kind of okay. Did you used to beat yourself up at all after matches?
Yeah, certainly would do. But if I did okay in that, I think as I became more mature, I understood your role in the team, and you understand that's what you have to do. You know, you go away wanting a bit more. That's normal. It's human nature, I suppose.
And Paul as well. How were you about your own performance? Did you self-evaluate a lot?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't have been happy tonight.
No. 0-0. I definitely wouldn't have been happy.
I think as a midfield player, as an attacking midfield player, when I was younger, if I didn't score a goal, I didn't make a goal, I was upset. If the later days, if I didn't influence the game, if I wasn't on the ball controlling play, I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, Rio as a defender, you'd be chuffed.
I'd have been delighted.
I'd be blaming the forwards.
Well done, Scholes. Frank, brilliant. Well done, protected me. Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez, it was another player that he didn't really have much influence, gave the ball away a bit, didn't happen for him. Yeah,
the fluidity of the front three really never really came together at all. I think it was he played out from the left-hand side. Again, he looks to link play. He wants to make runs, people play him in, or to actually start the movement and play and run and feed off other people. And he just never really got going. Never seemed to really form any partnership with anyone on the pitch today, and just looked a little bit like a lost soul out there. Yeah. And a real frustrated figure.
We've all played in these games, and they're not as easy as sometimes you think they should be. It's hard to play against. They keep possession very well. Spanish teams, Portuguese teams, German teams. It's not that easy. Sometimes, do you think we expect too much? Do you think of our teams away from home? I mean, La Liga's been the most successful league in European football for a long time.
I think the bar's been raised a little bit, though, this last week, especially with City winning 4-0 away, with Liverpool winning 5-0 away. Them performance, that's why when you see United against not a great Sevilla team, you expect more. You expect them to go to them places and win. But they haven't done, but it's still a great result, and you still expect them to go through without a problem.
No, they should do. Big few weeks for Manchester United. It's big few weeks for all teams, of course, at this stage of the season, but a tough one as well. Chelsea on Sunday, of course, then Palace away, always tricky. Liverpool, Sevilla, the second leg.
Big moments, but that's what happens when you go to big clubs. You're going to have a stage in the season where you're going to have some huge games that are very meaningful coming to the end of the season. So, as a player, you lick your lips when you see fixtures like that come in. That's what you want.